Hey you guys, I know. So McCall's just dropped their new patterns for the season. And let's just say we're going to take a deep dive into it. So I'm not going to be talking about costume patterns, kids patterns, any type of home decor patterns, or any of that jazz. We're going to keep it apparel patterns, or should I just say adult patterns? Yes. We're going to talk about that. So we're going to take a deep dive over to my computer and talk about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go over to the pattern so I can show it in big form and talk about that for McCall's. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it now. Let's go. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into these McCall's patterns that just dropped. So you guys know McCall's and know me. Winter patterns just dropped. And let's talk about it. So McCall patterns just dropped and they're okay. Let's discuss. So these patterns run between 86.25 and 86.48, about 21 patterns, but there are some costume patterns and some children patterns that I'm not going to be sharing those with you today. But let's first start with the sale that's going on right now. So right now it's 70% off of Simplicity patterns going on right now. They end Monday the 15th at 11:59 p.m. So all you have to do is go ahead and click on a Simplicity pattern. Now I already have this pattern, but I'm just walking you through that. I'm just going to put it in paper pattern, add it to your cart. It's going to fall off in the cart, so it shows 503. You put in the shipping because this is paper. It's gonna add like $7 to your shipping. Click ship, checkout, and you are done. I'm gonna remove that because I already have this, but that's what it is going to be for patterns. 70% off. It'll fall off in your cart. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these McCall patterns. Like I said, with the new McCall's drop, I'm not going to be sharing those costume patterns that just came out, which would be the McCall's 86.46 through 86.48, and then those children patterns, which is 86.40 through 86.42. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the first pattern being 86.25. So 86.25 is the missus dress with sleeve variations. It's an A-line dress with Peter Pan collar. It has button front opening, front ties at the neckline, side seam pockets, and sleeve variations. Now, view A dress has contrast collar. The fabric in the photo is a denim jacquard in a light blue. Some of the fabric suggestions would be cotton blends, denim, twill, and wool blends. You will need some interfacing for this. It is an average to sew. In terms of the format, it comes in PDF and paper, and I believe all the patterns comes in PDF and paper. If it's something different, I will go ahead and state that, okay? So in terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 4 to 18 on the first one and 12 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. Now, I am going to be picking this one up. I really like what the model in view B is wearing. View A is the contrast, and then view C is the long sleeve. View A is the short sleeve, and I think view B is like a 3/4 sleeve. I really like that. Now, I did see that this one is actually, I seen this on a website as well. But let's first talk about the notions. So in terms of the notions for all views, it's going to be 8 5/8 inch buttons. And then you're also going to need, for view A, you're going to need some 1 inch cross grain ribbon for that. It is size inclusive, in my opinion. If you look at the finished garment measurement, the bust size is 33.5 finished garment to 52. So this is pretty good. I think so, in my opinion, of course. And this was also seen on Red Boutique online, $65.95 for this one. And this one was pretty much a short sleeve. It's mini length. It has the oversized sailor collar. It has pockets. Now this one was made in a 70% cotton, 18% polyester, and 12% visco. So I would say make it pretty much in the same fabric if you can. But I think she wore this pretty good as well. So pretty much the same silhouette. I think it looks pretty good. And I will be picking up this pattern. Let's go ahead and look at the pattern pieces. That's what it is, pattern pieces. So for this pattern, view A, you're going to be using about 12 pattern pieces. View B, about 13 pattern pieces. And then view C, about 15 pattern pieces for the long sleeves and the cuffs and stuff. All right. So I am going to be picking this up, and I am interested in what the model is wearing, and that's view B. All right. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern, which is 8626. It's all McCall, so I'm just going to tell the number, okay? And this one is a Mrs. Cropped Jacket and Princess Seams, okay? And same format. In terms of the sizing, it's 8 to 18 and 16 to 26 for this one. It is a cropped button front jacket, semi-fitted. It has collar, princess seams, and extra long sleeves, okay, for the jacket. For the mini dress, it is fitted through the bust. It has princess seams, long sleeves. It has a bias stand collar with hook and eye closure for that stand collar. And then it also features a invisible back zipper on that collar. Not the entire dress, just the collar, okay? In terms of the fabric that you see in the photo, it is a wool blend in an ivory color. Some of the fabric suggestions would be your denim, gabardine, linen blend, and wool blend. You will need some interfacing for this one as well for structure. In terms of the skill level, it would be an average to sew. Now for me, I am picking up this pattern. I like the jacket, but I also really like the dress as well. So, and I think this looks very gorgeous on the model as well. I have made a dress similar to this, and I think the pattern is New Look 6469. I'll put it up on the screen if I'm able to find that here shortly. In terms of kind of like the notions, you need 4 3/4 inch buttons for view A, and you need some shoulder pads for the jacket. Of course, it's optional, but I would not skip out on the shoulder pads for the jacket for structure, okay? For view B, which is the dress, you need a 22-inch invisible zipper plus a hook and eye closure, 2 hook and eye closure, by the way, okay? Same thing goes for the finished garment measurement, 36 through a 52.5-inch bust, okay? So I really like that. Now, this one is expensive, okay? So it's a double-breasted jacket. Do you guys see the regular cost for this one? $3,200. 75% off is still $800, okay? Boom. It's made in Italy. Like, yeah. Yes, definitely pick up this pattern. If it's your vibe, okay? Pick up the pattern. I like that notch collar for sure, okay? Also, I did see this, I think this is a Spanish or Italian site. It looks more Spanish to me than Italian, but this one is a Hugo jacket, woman's jacket. I can read a little bit of Spanish, but I'm still working with Duolingo, and they've been treating me pretty good, okay? It says $8,099, but of course, you know, it's pesos. But this is a casual jacket for women. As you guys can see, I translated it from Spanish to English for you guys, but it's a woman's jacket. It's $8,099. It's a Hugo casual jacket for women. It's pretty much the same pattern, okay? I definitely like this. This pattern is, yes, definitely going to my cart, okay? Just waiting on the next sale, okay? Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about the, I talked about the notions. Let's talk about the pattern pieces for this one. So view A, the jacket, you're looking at about, let me zoom it in a little bit more. You're looking at about 13 pattern pieces, pattern piece 1 through 13. And then for view B, which is the dress, you're looking at about 6 pattern pieces for that, okay? Very interested in the dress, but I do like the jacket as well. Like I said, the dress reminds me of New Look 64, 69, I believe. you guys look that pattern up, okay? I'm going to try to put it up on the screen so you're able to see it. So let me put it up on the screen so you're able to see it. So I have it here. It's New Look 6469, and I did this dress way back in, I believe, like 2017, 2018, something like that. It's very nice. It's a very nice, like, swing dress or whatever you want to call it. Very, very gorgeous. And of course, 8626 reminds me of, like, if you look at view B, it reminds me of this pattern as well. All right. But once again, that pattern was 8626. Moving over to the next one, 8627. This reminds me of like a prom dress. Okay. In this high fashion for sure. This is a woman's special occasion dress in 2 lengths, same format, PDF or paper pattern. In terms of the sizing, 2 pattern envelopes, 10 to 20 and 20W to a 30W. Now, this is a sleeveless dress that features a corset style panel construction to create a flattering but also a fitted shape through the waist. Now, this dress has a scoop neckline, an invisible zipper closure in the back. It also has side seam pockets. Who doesn't like those pockets? It also comes in a mid calf length or a floor length as well, okay? In terms of the fabric in the photo, for view A, which is more like the mid calf length, it's in a chocolate brown. That's a silk shantung. And then view B is in Aurora pink and also the same silk shantung. All right. In terms of the fabric suggestion, I'm going to say satin, shantung, just to name a few of that. For there, you're going to need some lining fabric. You're going to need some interfacing. It is an average to sew pattern. Now for me, I am very interested in view A, which is what the color of the year was that chocolate brown. I didn't make nothing in chocolate brown, but I think that the model in view A is gorgeous in that chocolate brown. I do have some shoes that match that chocolate brown, okay? So that's what I would be interested in. View B, this one right here, the Aurora pink, that would be great for a prom or someone that's going to a wedding or something like that. I think it would be amazing in this Aurora pink. Let's go ahead and look at some of the notions. So in terms of the notions, you're going to need some horsehair braid trim for view A and view B. And you're just going to need pretty much, the yard is just different depending on which view you do. But that's all you're going to need, just some horsehair braid for that. So basically you don't need any zippers, no snaps, no elastic, which I wouldn't say this is a no notion pattern, but you're going to need some horsehair braid trim. Okay. So this is 8627, but I did see this as a Oscar de la Renta. And y'all see that price? $8,890. Okay. Don't fall out on me. Okay. But yeah, very similar. Okay. Nice evening dress. All right. Let's look at the pattern pieces. So for this one, 8627, if you are doing view A, you are looking at 9 pattern pieces for this one. And then if you are doing view B, you are looking at 8 pattern pieces. Okay. So not a lot of pattern pieces for this one, but definitely. Yeah, definitely. There is a knit dress that came out that was a jumpsuit. It's very similar to this one. I can't remember the pattern number off the top of my head, but it's very similar to this. That's color block or whatnot. Yeah, but it came out in a jumpsuit. It's very similar to this one. But once again, this one is 8627. Let's move over to the next pattern. 8628. Now, this one is just a Mrs. Cape in 2 lengths and tie belt. Same format, PDF and paper. In terms of sizing, it's 1 pattern envelope, extra small to extra, extra large. View A is a cape with front button opening, 7/8 sleeve length, and a narrow hem. Now, the tie belt is only for view B and view C, but of course we sew so we can make it the tie belt for view A if you want as well. In terms of the fabric in the photo, it's wool coating in a spice apple, and I love that color, by the way. In terms of the fabric, some of the fabric suggestions would be double face wool, heavyweight ponte knit, Milton wool, just to name a few. You're going to need some fusible interfacing, and this is an average to sew pattern. Now, what I'm interested would be view C, what the model is wearing. I think that spice apple is very, very gorgeous, and you know, a lot of places is getting snow, so I think the cape is really something that would be very nice, you know, for the winter time for sure. Of course, December, January, February, and then some of the locations March as well, still snowing where some of you guys live. Let's look at the notions. In terms of the notions, for view A, you're going to need 5 1-inch buttons. B and C, you're going to also need a button, but just one 1-inch button. So just button, so nothing bad about that. But I also seen a pattern similar for this one, and this would be, if you have this pattern, I do, so I'm on the fence of if I want to pick up 8628 pattern. That's this one right here, because I actually have the Vogue pattern in a paper pattern, Vogue 1754. I picked this up a while ago, okay, because this pattern came out a while ago. This, of course, is out of print. I don't remember what year this came out, but I mean, it's on the back of the pattern envelope. But if I could get to the back of the pattern envelope, sometimes they have it on the back of the pattern envelope when it came out. But as you can see, if you don't have this pattern, it's out of print. Etsy have one. Limited time sale. I'm not getting paid to say this, but it is available on Etsy for $11.27 if you are interested, but it's $17.54. And it's similar to 8628. If you can't find this pattern, I advise you to go ahead and get this one for the low when it's on sale. 8628 for this one, but it's very similar to 1754. Let's go ahead and look at the pattern pieces. So in terms of the pattern pieces for this one, for view A, you're looking at about 5 pattern pieces. For view B and view C, you're looking at about 6 pattern pieces. So not many, okay? If you do view A, it's a 5 and below, or 5 and fewer. And then, you know, if you do view B and C, it would be 6 and below. All right. So let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern, which would be 8629. 8629 is the Missus Blouse and Jacket with neckline variation. It comes in both formats. In terms of the sizing, 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 18 on the first one, and then 14 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. This jacket is a line blouse and jacket. It's very loose fitting through the bust. It has stand collar, front zipper, and elastic hem. The shoulders are drop shoulders. It has pleats at the sleeves and welt pockets. If you have not been doing welt pockets, this is the best time for you to practice on those welt pockets. Practice make perfect. Okay. All right. In terms of the fabric, brushed cotton twill is what you're seeing for the model in view B. Some of the fabric suggestions would be cotton blend. I would not advise to use cotton, but do what you do. Nylon, wooden blends, just to name a few. This jacket is lined, so you're going to need lining fabric. You're going to need some interfacing. This is an average to sew. I am going to be picking up this pattern. I am very interested in view A because of the color blocking, but I am also interested in view C. I like what the model is wearing in view B because the zipper is like a hidden placket, but it's either going to be view B or view C is what I would sew up when I get around to this pattern, since I am going to be picking this up in a PDF, because y'all know I have to cut down on these paper patterns. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the notions. In terms of the notions for all views, A, B, and C, you're going to need elastic, and that elastic is for the hem. All right, the bottom portion of the jacket. You're also going to need, for view A and view B, you're going to need a 28-inch separating zipper. And then view C, you're going to need a 28-inch separating zipper for this one. So I do like this jacket. I'm going to be picking up. This one also, H&M had this jacket. It's still available. Actually, it's out of print at H&M. It is a twill jacket, so I would be making mine in twill. They had past tense, had a beige one, and they also had a navy blue one. I actually like the fact that they had tabs on there, so I might hack mine and put some tabs there, you know, like they have on theirs, you know, some tabs, you know, jazz it up just a little bit. So if you want to know what theirs look like, you can also look at the pictures here if they could stop bringing up some more ads and stuff. So yeah, you could make yours a little similar to what H&M had. I mean, do what you do. Find something that's creative for you as well. Let's look at the pattern pieces. In terms of the pattern pieces for 86.29, for view A, you're looking at about 16 pattern pieces. Same goes for view B. And then view C, you're looking at about 15 pattern pieces, okay? Don't fall out. Just take your time. Take an hour with yourself and just sew. Just like Brittany has sewing 30, just block out some time with yourself as if it's a meeting with yourself, a date with yourself. All right? You and the machine. That's it. Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern, which is 86.30. Okay, like, y'all see how this model is looking. The patterns that are similar, it seems like she's posing the same way. We'll get there. But it's 86.30, which is Mrs. White jeans in 2 lengths. Same format that you could get it in. In terms of the sizing for the pattern envelopes, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 6-18 and 14-26. Now, this is a pair of high waist, wide leg pants. They are close fitting through the hips. The jeans or the pair of pants, whichever one you want to call it, it has a waistband with a button closure. It has a fly front zipper, belt loops, classic jean pockets in the front and in the back, which are optional. Now, view A is below mid-calf length, so you could call them gachos or culottes or whatever. View B and view C are your floor length. Okay, view C has the side cargo pockets with the flaps if you want that look. Now, in the photo, the fabric is a stretch denim in a medium blue. In terms of the fabric suggestions, you have the canvas, corduroy, cotton twill, and a medium weight denim. Now, for me, I would either use corduroy or cotton twill in order to do these pants, okay? Now, when they say lining, broadcloth, or poplin, they're talking about the pockets, okay? So you can use cotton, you can use whatever you want. You can use the same fabric as the main fabric that you are using, because that's what I'm going to use. The interfacing is for the waistband. That's what the interfacing is for, okay? It is an average to sew. For me, I will be making mine full length. I'm not making the gachos. I'm not doing any of that. I would be interested to do view B and view B only. Okay? That's what I would be interested in. Now, for me, I am going to be picking up this pattern, by the way. I like this back detail, okay? I actually like this at the back, okay? You see how she has like this buckle going on in the back? I like this detail. I am going to be doing the top stitching when I get around to this pattern. This would be nice for me to do for 2026 as well. I actually like that. All right, but let's look at the notions. So in terms of the notions, you need 1 7-inch jean zipper for the fly front, okay? The 1 3/4 inch button is to keep your pants closed. We don't want to see all of that, okay? And then you also need an adjustable slide buckle for the back, like I just showed you. And then you need some top stitching thread. If you want to do the top stitching is optional, but I think it adds a really nice detail to your pants, okay? Or jeans. But it's 86.30. Now, let's talk about some similar patterns. First up is 87.01. Y'all see how she's folding her arms. Let's compare that side by side. You see how she folded her arms there? Isn't it pretty much the same? Or am I just tripping? Put it in the comment section below. Rochelle, you tripping? Or yeah, she folding her arms pretty much the same. Okay, like I like the fact that she's smiling just a little bit on 8701. Let's look back just one more time, and we're gonna move along. Okay, like it's the right over the left. Y'all see that? Right over the left. But this one's left over right. But she's not smiling. But she's pretty though. Okay. Okay, moving along. I'm not gonna waste so much time on that. Okay, y'all over there smiling too. 8701 jeans. Okay, but I just thought that it was funny. But this is similar to 8630, and then another pattern that's kind of similar. It's not the same, but it's kind of similar is 8531. The reason why I picked this one is it has the cargo pockets on the side. It is bell bottoms, so yeah, that's why I picked this one as similar, but not completely similar. Okay. And then 8408, this is very similar, but the only difference is this one has like contrast panels. Okay. So I like this one. I haven't gotten around to doing this one. I do have fabric for this one as well. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And because I want to make more pants for my wardrobe, eventually I'll get around to doing this one as well. All right. Let's look at the pattern pieces. So for view A and view B, it's 14 pattern pieces. And then view C is 16 pattern pieces for this one. Okay. So take your time, when you get ready to do this pattern. It's 8630. Moving over to the next pattern is 8631. This is the Mrs. Pleat shorts and pants pattern. Same format for this one. In terms of sizing, it's 10 to 18 and 18 to 26. Now, this pattern is a pair of wide leg shorts or pants, and it has a front and back pleat, fly front zipper, hook and bar closure, and side pockets. Now, view A and view C have a bow detail. That's where you could tie it in the front, or you could tie it in the back, like a apron style pair of pants. If you know, you know. The fabric that you see in the photo is a cotton twill in like a mushroom color or a brown. That's the color of the year, okay, of 2025. If you're watching this in 2025. The fabric suggestion would be cotton blend, chino, poplin, twill, just to name a few. You're going to need some interfacing. This is an average to sew. I'm on the fence on if I want to pick this pattern up because I have a pattern that's very similar to this, which is Simplicity 9595. It's very similar to this, and it's an easy to sew. Now, this one, if I decide to pick this one up, I would be interested to do view C on this pattern. I like what the model is wearing. I think the model is what would sell this pattern to me a little bit, but I'm on the fence. I don't know if I would pick this up, but let's talk about the notions. So in terms of the notions for this one, you're just going to need, for all views, you're going to need a 7-inch exposed, not a invisible zipper, all-purpose or exposed zipper, and you're going to need 2 hook and bar closures. Okay. Now, in terms of this one looking like something, this one is a sack off fifth. Sacks off fifth. It is their wide leg apron wrap pants. If you have ever heard of an apron wrap pants, you know, okay, in khaki. And the model is really wearing these pants. Now, of course, they cut off the head, so you can't see what it looks like completely. They only want you to see what the pair of pants look like. But do you guys see the price? Regular price is $790, 60% off. I guess it's called their Cyber Monday or before Christmas. So I don't know what they want to call it. But it's $315.99, y'all. Okay. Yeah. But it looks like these are made in cotton. So I don't know if you want to make it in cotton, but do what you do. But yeah. This is their white leg apron wrap pants, okay? In terms of the pattern pieces. All right, so view A looks like all pieces, which would be 9 pattern pieces. And then view B, the only piece that you wouldn't need would be pattern piece number 6. So that would be 8 pattern pieces. And then that's for view B. And then view C, the only pattern piece you wouldn't need would be pattern piece number 4. So that would be 8 pattern pieces as well. So once again, this is 8631. Moving over to the next pattern, which would be 8632. I would be picking this pattern up, by the way. It's flared pants, okay? It's Mrs. Flared pants and belt with pockets, okay? Same format, both options. In terms of sizing, it's 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 18 or 14 to 26. Now, these pair of flared pants are semi-fitted. It has a high waist, fly front pants with flared legs, front pin tucks, and side pockets. It also includes an option for a side button belt. If you want that option, it's just attached to your pants. It also has a welt pockets for tailored modern look. That's for the side button belt. It has the welt pockets for the side button belt, okay? Not the pants, just the side button belt that you attach to the pants, okay? If that makes sense. Now, the fabric that's used in the photo is a wool sutan in cream. Now, some of the fabric suggestions would be your cotton blend, your gabardine, your twill, your wool blends, just to name a few. You're going to need some interfacing. That would be for your waistband, of course. This is an average to sew pattern. I am interested in this pattern for 2 reasons. You could wear it as just regular standard pants, or you could add in that side belt. So you can make this 2 different options. So I do like this pattern, and I will definitely be picking this pattern up. All right, let's talk about the notions. You're going to need, for the pants, you're just going to need 1 7-inch exposed zipper and a hook and bar closure. For the side belt, you're just going to need 2 5/8-inch buttons. That's it. All right. Now, for this one, you could get this. It looks like a White Lake trousers, $471 for this one. But I did see something similar at Bloomingdale's. They're Joe jeans, which would be side zip, high-rise White Lake trouser jeans, and they are cream brulee. But it's sold out. So I can't give you a price point for this one. But let's look at their pattern pieces for this one. For 8632, view A, the pants, you're going to need 9 pattern pieces. And then for the side button belt, I guess you could call it, you're going to need pattern piece 10 through 16, making that 7 pattern pieces. So yeah, not too many pattern pieces to fall out on, but yeah. That's 8632. Moving over to the next one, 8633, which is like a lounge set, top and bottom. Mrs. Sweatshirt hoodie, shorts, and pants, okay? So same format. In terms of sizing, 2 pattern envelopes, extra small to medium, and then large to extra, extra large. So the sweatshirt and the hoodie. So the sweatshirt is view A, the hoodie is view B, and then you have the shorts view C and the pants view D. So the sweatshirt and hoodie have drop shoulders, long 2-piece sleeves with the sleeve band and the hem band. The hoodie has the front kangaroo pockets, and then you have pull-on shorts and flare leg pants that have elastic waistband and pockets, okay? So the fabric that you are looking at is a Tinsel Terry in a lavender color for the hoodie, which you see the model wearing, the hoodie and the pants, all right? Some of the fabric suggestions would be cotton knit, terry, French terry, micro fleece, or sweatshirt fleece are some of the fabric suggestions. This is an average to sew pattern. I like what the model is wearing. I've seen something like this at Walmart. Just to be 100% honest, like you could see this at Walmart for $22.99 and so many different colors, you know, just to bring some colors up. Army green, black, hot pink, you know, bright freaking green, you know, they have it in so many colors at Walmart. Okay. So this is very, very similar to Walmart. All right. So I like what the model is wearing. I actually like this lavender purple. I love that color. Okay. I really like that. All right. And I like the hood. I would definitely, you know, wear this. I wouldn't wear this to bed, but I would wear this as a lounge set. All right. Let's look at in terms of the notion, the only notion that you're going to need is elastic. Okay. So let's look at the pattern pieces. So in terms of the pattern pieces for view A, looks like about 8 pattern pieces. View B, you're looking at about 9 pattern pieces because you're not going to need pattern piece 3, the neckband. View C looks to be about 6 pattern pieces, and view D, same thing, 6 pattern pieces. Okay, so definitely you could do pretty much all views for this pattern and have a good lounge set. All right, but it's 86.33. Moving over to the next one is 86.34, and this one is a Mrs. Lounge top in 2 lengths and then shorts and pants. Same format in terms of sizing, 1 pattern envelope, extra smalls to extra large. This is a sleeveless lounge top with ruffle neckline and armhole. Have the front slit opening with ties, elastic casing at the bodice, and length variation. So the shorts and the pants have the front pleats, elasticated waist, the fake or faux front fly, and side pockets. The pants features a wide leg barrel silhouette and back patch pockets. Okay. Now the fabric used is a gauze and a light rust, and then some of the fabric suggestions or options would be challis, gauze, lawn, or shearsucker. Now, to be honest, I like the pants and I like the shorts. I don't know if I would do the top, just to be 100% honest, but it's an average to sew. I don't know if I would do the top. I would be interested in the pants and the shorts, honestly. My daughter would definitely be interested in the top and the pants, so I might pick it up for her, but I'll see if she likes this outfit. She might, okay? But it's cute. I'll put it like that. It's cute, but I would just be interested in the shorts and the pants, but she might like the top. All right, let's look at the notions. So in terms of the notions, you're going to need some elastic for view A and view B, and then you're going to need some single fold bias tape. You're going to need elastic for view C and D as well. All right, but let's look at by the way, it reminds me of a pattern, and I have this pattern as well. It's McCall's 7962. And it reminds me of this pattern because of that elastic on view A. I'll bring it in for a second. View A and view B, it reminds me of that. So it reminds me of this one just a little bit. I have not gotten around to doing this pattern at all, but it reminded me a little bit of this pattern. Let's look at the pattern pieces for this one. So 86.34. For view A, you're looking at about 11 pattern pieces for both view A and view B. For view C, which are the shorts, you're looking at about 7 pattern pieces. And for the pants, you're looking at about 8 pattern pieces. All right. But once again, this is 86.34. Moving over to the next one. 86.35. I like this unisex bomber jacket, and I am definitely picking it up. All right, so it's a unisex bomber jacket with or without the hood, so you have options. Same format. In terms of the sizing, it's 1 pattern envelope, extra small to extra large. This is the line bomber jacket. It has front zipper opening, drop shoulders, front pockets with the flaps and button closure, and a rib knit trim cuffs and hemband. So view A jacket has rib knit trim at the neckline or neckband. View B jacket has the hood with the ties. Now the fabric in the photo for view A, that's basically what the female is wearing, is wool blends with rib knit trim in a heather gray. View B is wool blend as well with the rib knit trim in beige. All right. So some of the fabric suggestions would be cotton blend. I don't know if I would use cotton blend for this bomber jacket, but I have used cotton blend before for a bomber jacket, and it has worked out perfectly. Okay, so you can. Lightweight stretch wovens, lightweight twill, micro suede, just to name a few. Lining, use whatever fabric you want for lining. You're going to need some lightweight fusible interfacing. This is an average to sew. I definitely want a bomber jacket with a hood. That's it. All right, that's it. It is an average to sew. In terms of notion, you're going to need a separating zipper. It calls for a 24-inch separating zipper. I don't remember the length that I did when I did Simplicity 8418. You guys know I did a whole sew along for the bomber jacket that I made. I think it was last fall. I think fall 2024. I think. And it ended up being the same jacket that I did for Take It to the Street. You guys can look up both of those videos. I'll put it in the description box below. I'll put it up on the screen here shortly. But it's 24-inch separating zipper, 2 5/8-inch buttons. You're also going to need rib knit trim, 3 strips of trim. You're going to need some grommets as well. That's different. I have used grommets a few times as well in a project. You're going to need some twill tape and you're going to need some cording. Okay. So that's what you're going to need for this. But let me show you the 2 patterns that I was talking about. Take It to the Street as well as the other sew along. So before we get to the video, let's first talk about the pattern pieces. So the pattern pieces for this one, for view A, you have 13, well, both views for this bomber jacket, you have 13 pattern pieces, no matter if you do view A or view B. All right. So talking about the bomber jacket that I did for Take It to the Street, the bomber jacket, it was basically the same pattern, Simplicity 8418. It was a pattern mimic, basically. I did this for Vlogmas last year in 2024. New Look 6545 and Simplicity 8418. It was pretty much the same exact pattern, okay? And it's a great pattern, 8418 and New Look 6545. I would encourage you to do those 2 bomber jacket patterns as well. And then I did a complete sew along for Simplicity 8418. It is a bomber jacket that I did. You could also watch that complete sew along if you ever get tripped up. And I also tell I also show how to do a separating zipper, how to put it in, how to install it. All that good stuff is in the sew along, as well on how to put in a separating zipper. All right. You could go to that video on how to put in a separating zipper and to see how long the zipper was. It's in that video. All right. But let's go ahead and get back into this drop. All right. Also, with this drop for 8635, it also reminds me of the Butterick pattern that came out last year, which is Butterick 7008. It reminds me of that pattern as well. So, talking about Butterick 7008, it reminds me of view A just a tad bit, just with the pockets. It's a Mrs. jacket. It's a lined bomber jacket as well. So that's one of the patterns that it reminds me of. It also reminds me of a Berta pattern, and that it also reminds me of that Berta pattern as well. And I can't remember the Berta pattern that it reminds me of 6799 Berta pattern. For the bomber jacket, you can use that too. It's just the hood in view B that it reminds me of. And it also reminds me of the McCall's 7841 pattern as well. So those are some of the bomber jackets and pullovers that pattern reminds me of. All right. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern, 8636, which is the unisex pull-on pants. It reminds me of a pattern, of course. Same format in terms of the sizing. It's 1 pattern envelope, and that's extra, extra small to extra, extra large for this one. All right. So basically it's pull-on pants that have elastic waistband with front ties, front and back, top stitching, seam details, and pocket variation. So in the photo, view A, what the male is wearing is cotton twill. Well, both of them is wearing cotton twill, but just in different colors. Some of the fabric suggestions would be your chambray, your chino, your corduroy, cotton blend, denim, and linen blend. You're going to need some interfacing. It is an average to sew pattern. I am definitely going to be picking this pattern up. I am interested in what the female is wearing, view B. I like the deep pockets that you see right here in this orange. I like the deep pockets. It would be very great to put your phone in instead of in the back. You could drop those phones in those pockets, okay? Let's talk about the notion. So in terms of the notion, you're going to need some twill tape and you're going to need some elastic. So this would count as elastic only pattern. And I like that. Okay, let's clap that up. All right, let's talk about the pattern pieces. So in terms of the pattern pieces, view A would be 10 pattern pieces and view B would be 11 pattern pieces. Now, if you do not count the elastic is the elastic guide, not a cut it out of fabric. So you could get rid of one pattern piece. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move over to, well, actually, it reminds me of a pattern. The pattern that it reminds me of is Simplicity 9050. That's one of the pattern it reminds me of. Another pattern that it reminds me of is Simplicity 9785. It reminds me of View C on this pattern without the elastic at the bottom. It reminds me of that with the cargo pockets on the side. All right, so, and that's an easy to sew pattern. If you have that one, by all means, same. Now, one of the other patterns that it reminds me of is, of course, Simplicity 9471. You guys see how the pockets on the side, this is more like a jean pattern, okay? So it reminds me of this pattern as well, all right? But this is 9471. Moving over to the next pattern is 8637, which is a unisex knit vest, cardigan, and pant pattern, same format. In terms of sizing, it's one pattern envelope, extra small to extra, extra large for this one. It's a V-neck vest and cardigan. It have button front opening, drop shoulders, neck band, and hemband. The knit cardigan has long sleeves and front pockets. It has ankle length pants and have elastic waist and pockets. So the fabric in the photo, view A and view C, are your cable knits. Well, all of them are cable knits that's used for the fabric. Some of the fabric suggestions would be stretch knit, like cotton knit, French terry, ponte knit, sweater knit, just to name a few. It is an average to sew pattern. Now for me, I'm interested in what the model is wearing, the vest and the pants. I don't know if I would do the cardigan simply because, you know, it's hot here in Florida. So I don't know if I would do the cardigan, just to be honest. I might do all three pieces just to make it a lounge set. But yeah, I like the vest and the pants, what the female model is wearing for the most part, okay? In terms of the notions, you're just going to need, for view A and view B, you're going to need 6 3/4 inch buttons. And then for the pants, you're going to need some elastic for this one. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the pattern pieces. So in terms of the pattern pieces for the vest, which is view A, you're going to need 6 pattern pieces. For B, the cardigan, you're going to need 8 pattern pieces. And then for the pants, view C, you're going to need 5 pattern pieces. All right. But once again, this is 8637, all right? And it reminds me of Vogue 1914, view A and view C, the cardigan, as well as the pants here. Like you see the 3 buttons on the cardigan and the pants. If I do have this pattern, so I think this was one of the Sew Your Views one year. But yeah, it reminds me of this pattern as well, all right? But let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. 8638 for the men. It's a double-breasted jacket in 2 lengths. All right. I'm not going to be picking this one up. I might. Okay. Just for myself, not to sew for my husband, for myself. I might. I'm on the fence on this one, but it reminds me of one of the runway shows. Okay. It's a loose fitting lined double-breasted jacket. It has a large notch collar, long 2-piece sleeve with working vents, side panels, and side front seam pockets. Now view A has a contrast upper collar. The fabric in the photo is a wool coating in camel. Some of the fabric suggestions would be denim, synthetic leather, twill, wool, and wool blends, just to name a few. The contrast that you see on view A is corduroy that you could use. Lining fabric, you need lining fabric, and this is an average to sew. I would be interested in view C, like a longer view, not a cropped view. If I was to make this one, I don't know if I would pick it up, just to be honest, you know. I don't want the contrast, but I would be interested in this one right here, a little bit longer to cover my bootay. All right. Let's talk about the notions for this one. So in terms of the notions for this pattern, all views, you're going to need 5 3/4 inch buttons and then 4 5/8 inch buttons. I think the 4 5/8 inch buttons are for the sleeves, and then the 5 3/4 inch buttons would be for the main front portion of the jacket. All right. All right. So let's talk about what it looks like. So it reminds me of this non-ashka. Look, I'm not good with names. All right. Haroto. All right. Jacket. It's a crop felt wool peacoat. $975, y'all. Woo. Jesus. All right. This was on the runway. I remember seeing this on the runway show. All right. I remember this because I was flipping through the channels and saw this. Boom. All right. Yeah. Very nice, but very expensive too. All right. Let's look at the pattern pieces. Now, for this one, no matter which view you do, you're going to use all the pattern pieces. Okay. Look at that. All the pattern pieces for all the views. It doesn't matter which view you are doing. It's just a length variation. Short, medium, or long. That's it. All right. Let's move over to the next pattern. Next one is 8639. This is a pair of men's cargo pants. I'm not going to be picking this up because I have tons of cargo pants that I can use. All right. It's loose fitting pants. It sits 1 inch below the waist. It have fly front zipper, belt loops, cargo pockets, back flap pockets, and length variation. All right. So the fabric used would be cotton canvas in a chocolate brown, color of the year for 2025. The fabric suggestion would be cotton canvas, denim, twill, just to name a few. You're going to need some interfacing. It is an average to sew for this one. I like all the pockets for like cargo and all that good stuff. It's very nice, but I'm going to skip this one. In terms of the notions, you're going to need 1 5/8 inch buttons. You're going to need a 7 inch exposed zipper for the fly front, and then a heavy duty top stitching thread for this one. That's why it's average to sew. All right. Now it does remind me of a couple of patterns. One of the first patterns would be McCall's 8264 that came out, I want to say about a year or two ago. Cargo pockets. It's just not as many cargo pockets, but it reminds me of this pattern as well. And then another pattern that it reminds me of is Simplicity 9852 with the cargo pockets. You just need to add a little bit more cargo pockets. But it reminds me that for the females who want this pattern, this would be a similar option for you guys. All right. Just to be a little bit more tapered. All right. Let's talk about the pattern pieces. So in terms of the pattern pieces, view A would be 18 pattern pieces. View B would be 19 pattern pieces. And view C would be 17 pattern pieces for the shorts. All right. But once again, this pattern is 8639. Now I'm not going to do 40, 41, and 42 because those are children patterns, but let's go ahead and skip over to 8643. Now we're getting into more so the vintage patterns, and this is the Laura Ashley pattern from 1953. All right. Now it reminds me of a pattern, and you guys probably already know what two patterns we're going to discuss. All right. But this is the Mrs. Line pattern by Laura Ashley, and this is a boho style pattern, but it comes in 2 pattern envelopes, 6 to 14 and 12 to 20. Now this is a boho style fitted empire bodice dress. A, B, and C have the gathers across the front shoulders. The front and the back band have ribbon trim. It extends into ties and gather skirt. So it extends down into the gather skirt. Back bodice opening. You have basically an opening in the back. It has a zipper closure and sleeve variation. Now, dress A and dress C have the ruffles at the bottom, as you can see. And then dress A has a front flower in the front. Okay, that's at the waist. And then dress A and B are above mid knee length. And dress C is longer at your ankles. All right. Now, the fabric in the photo would be rayon challis and a floral print is what the model is wearing. Some of the fabric suggestions would be your challis, your charmeuse or chameuse, however you want to pronounce it, chiffon, double georgette, just to name a few. Lining fabric, if you want to line your dress, I would highly suggest it if you're using a see-through fabric. It isn't average to sew. Most of these were average to sew this season. All right. I like the fabric that the model is wearing. I might skip this pattern just to be 100% honest because I already have this pattern. Just so you know, I already have this pattern and you probably do too. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the notions for this one. So in terms of the notions for this one, you're going to need a 9-inch zipper. And for the zipper, I think you probably could use an invisible zipper. I'm not 100% sure. On this one, I'm going to take a look at the line art here shortly to tell you. You're also going to need a button. You're going to need some ribbon. And for view B, you're going to need elastic for the casing. All right. So in terms of the zipper, I don't even know where the zipper is going. It's kind of hard to tell right here, but I'll probably be able to tell from the instructions. All right. Let's look at the similar patterns. All right. This is the Laura Ashley pattern and it's $79.92. It is pretty much very similar. Okay. With the ruffles, the only difference is it doesn't have like the bow at the front. And it doesn't have the opening in the back for that one. All right. And another pattern that's similar is this one right here that was like everyone was to die for this pattern. It's $79.69. Okay. Love, love, love this pattern. Okay. It's not the exact same, but it's very, very similar. I don't even think this one is the Laura Ashley pattern, but it's very similar to this one. And many people have sewn this one so many times. All right. Let's look at the pattern pieces for $86.43. But before I do that, let me check, looking at the instructions, where does the zipper go? So it looks like the zipper go between the waist and the bottom. And it's looking like, I guess you can use an invisible zipper, but it looks like they want you to use an all-purpose zipper. Looking at instruction number 44. Okay. So I guess you're going to be using, no, it is a all-purpose zipper. Looking at A, B, and C on the instructions. I can zoom it in just a little bit more so you can see that. You can read that as well. Open zipper. Place face down on extended. Okay, you can see that as well. I don't need to read all of that to you. But, you know, stitch along basting through all thickness. Use the zipper foot. Remove the basting. As you can see, that looks more like a all-purpose zipper instead of a regular. I'm sorry, invisible zipper. All right. But whatever zipper you want to use, that's completely up to you. All right. So I'm going to zoom that back out. And then in terms of the pattern pieces for this one, view A looks like about 11 pattern pieces. View B, 9 pattern pieces. And then view C, 11 pattern pieces as well for this one. All right. But this one is $86.43. All right. Moving over to the next pattern, $86.44. And this one is a 1970s Mrs. Jacket top, skirt, and pant pattern for this one. Same format, Size is one pattern envelope. Now, I'm going to say that this one is not size inclusive. I'm not going to be picking this pattern up. It's 8 to 16 because it's not in my size, pretty much. All right. So I'm going to skip out on this pattern. It's sad, but it is what it is. It is a vintage 1970s jacket, top, skirt, and pant pattern, camisole top with shape hem and narrow straps with side zipper. Shorts or long puff sleeves for the top, jacket with peplum and optional lace trim. It also have a A-line long skirt with the waistband and 31.5-inch elephant bell bottoms. I guess that's just the length of the bell bottom, or palazzo pants with elasticated waist. This is a reproduction pattern. Fabric options, just some cotton, some crepe back satin, just to name a few. It's an average to sew. Okay, you could look from the line art what it is. Okay, yeah. So sad that it's not size inclusive for this one. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time because many of us cannot get this pattern. You're going to have to size it up. But let's just look at, well, it doesn't say, I'll see if I could get the finished garment measurements on the pattern. This one comes in both PDF and paper pattern. So let me pull up the paper, the PDF for you. So from the instructions on this one, the finished garment measurement is only for the skirt. You cannot see the finished garment measurement for the actual like top or pants or anything like that. So kind of hard to kind of tell like if you have to size it up, how many inches would you need to size up, you know, to actually make this fit. For some may have like thick thighs, you know, a badonkadonk booty, you know, a big booty, you know. So I probably wouldn't be able to fit in this because it stopped at a 16. Most pair of pants I'm in a size 18. You know, I'm fluctuating between a 16 and 18 now. Just in the pants itself. Yeah. I would definitely have to size up the pants. I know that. The top, yeah, I'm not going to be fitting into that top at all. So yeah, I would probably have to skip this pattern. Even though it's cute, I would definitely have to do too much sizing up. So yeah, but this is 86.44, very cute. But yeah, I'm kind of sad with this pattern. All right. Anyway, moving over to the next one. It's 86.45. And I believe this is the last pattern. Yeah, this is the last pattern I'm going to report on. It's 1970s Mrs. Overall pants and blouse pattern. And looking at this one, I won't be able to pick this one up. And I definitely want this pattern. So I might decide to size up. Might have to pick this one up and size up. We will see. Yeah. Disappointed. But we will see. Might have to pick it up and size it up. I'll let you guys know when there's a sale. All right, but format PDF and paper, sizing is 8 to 16. Overall pants and blouse pattern. Overalls and pants have a soft front pleat. Zipper in the front opening. You need an all-purpose zipper. It has pockets in the side seam opening, button trim, suspender straps with the cording loop. You guys could read all of that. So basically, in, you know, plain terms, you have the shirt, and then you have the overalls, all right? Now, I like the overalls with the suspenders. That's what I'm interested in. Some of the fabric suggestions would be cotton blend, cotton broadcloth, corduroy, just to name a few there, all right? Fabric suggestions as well. It is an average to sew pattern for this one, all right? Now, let's look at some of the notions for this one. In terms of the notions, you're going to need the 16-inch exposed zipper. You're going to need 10 half-inch buttons and hook and eye closure. That's for the overalls in cording. For the pants, you're going to need a 9-inch exposed zipper, 8 half-inch buttons, and then you're going to need some cording, For this one, for the blouse, you're going to need 12-inch half-inch buttons. So that's all you're going to need for that one. So those are all the things that you're going to need for this one. I just wish we could get it in a bigger size. In terms of the finished garment measurement for the blouse for this one, it only goes from 37 to 43.5. The blouse would fit me. I would just need to size up about 2 inches, which is not bad. In terms of the waist for the pants and the overalls, the waist is 26 to 32.5. So that fits me because my waist is a 32. It's actually like a 31.5 right now from losing weight. So that fits me. And the hips, 36 to 42.5. My hips right now is a 43. So I would have to size up just a little bit, not much. So this pattern will fit me. I don't have to size up much. So I will be picking this pattern up, 86.45. I can't see what 86.44 would be. So I might go ahead and pick up both and just size up. All right. So that's my 2 cents for this. All right. But all in all, those are all the patterns that came out with McCall's for the McCall's winter 2025 drop. I don't know why I'm into last year, but this is the McCall's winter 2025 drop. Let me know in the comment section below which patterns were your favorite, which patterns you are picking up, which patterns, you plan to sew in the 2026 year. Let me know in the comment section below. So there you have it. Those are all the McCall patterns that dropped for the season. So don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And as always, keep going, keep sewing, and definitely keep growing. I'll talk to you in the next video.